Approximately 6 million people in the US are infected by a bloodborne pathogen. Why didn't you know this? Most people infected don't like to talk about it, and it's confidential information. Let's put 6 million people into perspective for you. The state of Wisconsin has a general population of about 6 million people. Now think about that. All the more reason it's good for you to go through this training. Unfortunately, we have seen an increase worldwide from 2010 to 2015 by over 2 million people becoming infected. However, as the world statistics are getting worse, the United States has shown a 1% decrease. Today we'll be focusing on 3 of the most common bloodborne pathogens for your training: the HIV virus, the hepatitis B virus, and the hepatitis C virus. Let's start with HIV. HIV, once it enters someone's blood, can attack very important immune system cells that help protect your bodies to fight off infections. Without those important cells, we are more susceptible to cancers and other illnesses. HIV can also lead to AIDS. Over 1 million people are estimated to be infected in the US with HIV. Also, it's estimated that approximately 50,000 new people are infected each year in the US alone. Another bloodborne pathogen is hepatitis B. Hepatitis B can cause chronic liver disease and wreak havoc on our bodies. Approximately 1.4 million people are infected just in the US with this disease. Probably one of the most alarming statistics, though, is Hep B can live outside the body for 7 days. Here's another one. 1 in 4 people show no signs or symptoms that they're even infected. Why is that a problem? Well, if a person isn't educated on what hepatitis is and can do to other people, they may not be as likely to clean up after themselves. Let's look at a situation involving Hep B. Say someone walked into the bathroom because they had a bloody nose where it dripped in the sink and they failed to clean it up. 5 days later, you just happen to be the next person to walk into the bathroom. If that blood contained the hepatitis B virus, it could still infect you. Crazy, right? The hepatitis C virus also attacks your liver. Once it reaches your liver, it continues to multiply from cell to cell. There are approximately 3.2 million people infected just in the US with hepatitis C, and is one of the most prevalent bloodborne pathogens in the US. Fortunately, in recent years, the medical community has developed a low side effect cure for this virus. Hopefully this means a decline in the number of cases in the future. Let's discuss activities that can cause individuals to become exposed to bloodborne pathogens. The Occupational Health and Safety Administration defines potential exposure of any tasks that are reasonably anticipated to be exposed to blood or potentially infectious materials. Such job tasks associated in your workplace include using syringes, needles, cleaning up body fluid, handling or drawing specimens or samples, handling garbage or waste, cleaning restrooms, and rendering care. Any of these activities, if not following proper protocols, can lead to infectious material entering your body. You're probably wondering now, well, how do I get a bloodborne pathogen? It's pretty simple. Let's talk about what can infect you, then we will discuss how it enters your body. Potentially infected material is blood or any body fluid with blood in it. Some examples are feces, vomit, saliva, plasma, amniotic fluid, urine, breast milk, vaginal secretions, and mucus. If any potentially infectious material gets in your eyes, mouth, nose, non-intact skin, or punctures, then the viruses can enter your body. we will discuss ways to prevent this material from entering your body. Bloodborne pathogens are simply preventable. By wearing personal protective equipment like gloves, using safe equipment like self-retracting needles, proper disinfectant, and following disposal protocols and safe work practices will no longer require you to worry about getting an infection. There are things we can do to avoid potential exposure, especially while performing job tasks like rendering first aid, handling sharps, cleaning up body fluid, or other potentially infectious materials. Avoid eating and drinking to avoid contamination in your mouth. If you wear contacts, ensure not to adjust them, take them out, or put them on during these tasks. We should not store any body fluid specimens in the same place we store food or drink. There is an exception with breast milk as long as the container doesn't contain any visible blood. Also, avoid applying makeup during those areas or during these job activities. You must also use sharps containers properly. Whether you're using a portable sharps container or a sharps container located in the restroom, they must be rigid and always contain a lid to prevent access inside. They must also be replaced if they are 2/3 full or more. Never tamper with used needles to avoid needle sticks. You should also never tamper with their safety devices. Never stick your hands in a sharps container. If something of value, like a wedding ring, fell in the container, it must be extracted carefully using a mechanical device such as a tongs. The same goes for broken glass, or sharps found on tables or the floor. Always use a tongs or a broom to clean that material up. Keep in mind, the devices used to clean up will also need to be properly disposed of. Let's talk personal protective equipment. Impervious gloves, or medical-style gloves, should always be worn whenever your hands have potential exposure to a bloodborne pathogen. Ensure they have proper fit. They make various sizes of gloves, and if they are too large, they could cause you to be clumsy during your job activity. Gloves that are too small may tear. Ensure to inspect your gloves. Avoid cross-contamination. During your activities, such as a job cleanup, you may go through 2 or 3 pairs of gloves. These gloves are single-use and certainly not puncture-proof. Avoid wearing sharp jewelry under them and never use them to pick up anything sharp. Eye protection may be needed for certain situations. If there is a potential for splatter, safety glasses are required to be worn during your job activity with body fluid. If splashing can occur, then goggles or a face shield would be required. It's usually more cost-effective just to dispose of your eye protection after you use it. However, you may disinfect them and reuse it as well. There are other forms of body protection that could be required as well. If there is potential to get body fluid on other parts of your body, you may need disposable booties, suits, aprons, or sleeves. For those who have tasks that may expose them to a bloodborne pathogen, they must be offered a Hep B vaccination. If the employee declines, they must sign a declination form. If the employee was exposed, then during the post-exposure, they would be offered one if they declined it originally. If in the future a booster shot would ever become available, the employer must pay for that as well. What is regulated waste? Regulated waste is body fluid containing visible blood that is drippable, pourable, flakeable, or is a used sharps. Drippable could include being squeezed out of a towel. Pourable could be poured out of specimen container. Flakeable could include a lot of dried blood on clothing or a shirt that could flake off. And a used sharp is any needle that penetrated somebody's skin. Let's explore urine samples and how they relate to regulated waste. You should always use gloves when handling these specimens. Note the coloration difference from both of these samples. The sample on the left does not contain any blood and is not considered biohazard waste. However, the sample on the right does contain visible blood and should be disposed of in a biohazard waste container. There are various containers available on the market today, such as rigid containers, portable containers, and bags. If you are using a waste disposal system, ensure it is protected from tipping over or spilling. Always contact your supervisor if you have a full biohazard container that you are not sure what to do with.
Let's take a look at a small body spill. We want to make sure it's disinfected properly so someone else isn't contaminated. In addition, we want to make sure we don't cross-contaminate with our gloves. One way to do this is always handle your spray bottle with your non-dominant hand. And then wipe up the spill with your dominant hand, as we're going to probably have to use a couple of wipes. First, spray your disinfectant on there. You can begin by wiping up the main part of the spill as much as you can. There'll be some residual left. Then you're going to go ahead, grab another napkin or paper towel. You're going to spray it again. You're going to want to let that sit for 30 seconds to 10 minutes, whatever that disinfectant says it's supposed to sit to kill everything. Then take your cloth, you're going to wipe it up, let it dry. If it's visually good, you're good to go. I want to demonstrate the proper removal of contaminated gloves. Just to reiterate a few things about impervious gloves, make sure they fit good in your fingers. Be careful to wear jewelry underneath, as it might penetrate through. Also, do a quick inspection on your gloves prior to using them on any bloodborne pathogen task. It's a quick check, back and forth, make a fist, no cuts or tears, we're good to go. To properly remove gloves, you want to make sure that you do not touch the outside of the gloves with your skin. Basically, all you'll do is pinch the glove about an inch up from the cuff, remove that glove carefully, and then slide 2 fingers underneath the inside of the glove
And peel it inside out.
When deciding on a blood spill cleanup kit, there are many pre-made kits out there that will fit just about any work setting. There is also the option of building your own kit with these main items. First off, biohazard bags, absorbent towels, a spray bottle for bleach solution, bleach which will be mixed at a 1 part bleach, 9 part water solution, medical exam style gloves, absorbent materials such as kitty litter or oil dry, a scoop for cleaning up the oil dry or absorbent, safety glasses or goggles. Also, face shields may be effective in certain circumstances. When cleaning up a blood spill, your safety is the first priority. All personal protective equipment should be worn prior to starting the cleanup process. This PPE may include medical exam style gloves, safety glasses, goggles, face shield, aprons, sleeves, but keep in mind all of this is very dependent on the size of the spill and the area that's been contaminated. Once you're ready, place absorbent on the blood spill itself. Use biohazard bags to place the absorbent in after it's been cleaned up. Make sure to use a scoop system while cleaning up the absorbent as well. Discard and replace your medical exam style gloves just to avoid cross-contamination when grabbing other items. Be sure to always inspect your gloves after putting them on. Use your 1 part bleach to 9 part water solution on the actual spill. Spray the area, allow it to sit for at least 10 minutes to kill all the microorganisms that are in the blood itself. After 10 minutes has passed, use an absorbent towel to clean up the spill area. Place the absorbent towel in a biohazard bag. Remove personal protective equipment such as medical exam style gloves, once again to avoid cross-contamination. You may also spray bleach solution and allow the area to air dry. Now you're able to discard all personal protective equipment in your biohazard bag.
If your department ever needs to launder clothing or material that has biohazards on it, be sure when handling you use gloves and an apron or any other personal protective equipment that would not allow the biohazard to get on your skin. Always handle material with minimal agitation to avoid spreading any biohazard to another surface. If you transport laundry with biohazards in it, you must transport it in a biohazard bag or container. If you send laundry to professional cleaners with biohazards on them, ensure it's provided in a biohazard bag or container. Remember the routes of entry: eyes, mouth, non-intact skin, punctures from contaminated body fluid. If body fluid containing blood ever enters one of those routes, it's called an exposure event. If that happens, here's what you'll need to do. If you get a needle stick or body fluid in an open wound or cut, wash the area with soap and water. If you got body fluid in your eyes, flush your eyes for 15 minutes. Immediately after you clean yourself up, contact your supervisor. Don't wait. You'll have to fill out incident forms and we'll have to get you a post-exposure test completed right away. Hand hygiene is extremely important, especially for those that may come in contact with body fluid. You should wash and disinfect your hands after any task where you are handling body fluid, between any patient contact, as well as after removing gloves. Other times that are beneficial to wash your hands is after bathroom use and after coughing or sneezing, if you accidentally use your hand to cover your mouth. It's always best to cover your mouth with your arm. Employers that have tasks involving bloodborne pathogens will have to deal with medical records. All medical records will be kept confidential and will not be released without consent from the individual. They will be maintained for the person's employment plus an additional 30 years. If your department handles sharps, you must have a sharps log if you ever have a needle stick. The log must contain at minimum the type and brand of device that caused the needle stick, the incident location and time, and an explanation of the exposure or details of what happened. All training records must be kept, and any exposure events that resulted in illness fitting OSHA's record-keeping criteria must be recorded on the OSHA or DSPS log.